open to everyone. We have like an entry fee whereby it's a contribution towards our project, while we also celebrate the work we have done. So we sit down, reflect, we have been able to achieve this, what else can we do going forward? So it's a platform for the youths to come share experience, to come share, give us feedback, what they would want us to see in the next coming projects that will enable them to be even more empowered in our society.
All right.
So,
that's great. So if someone wants to join now, the organization, I think I'll get back to that so that you give us on also your parting shots, how people can get to join VAVI, application process and all of that. But getting a parting shot from you, but also shameless plug-in for your YouTube channel. Tell us what you do there and how many videos so far?
So we start with the parting shot. I will echo what Justine Wamai said. I know we know her. She was running it to
Wajakwa in the Roots Party.
Yes. Right. She's been saying something in Atuhusu. I think as youths we should not. We YOLO about life too much, you know. So it's about time that we started intentional living, which does not mean not having fun. It means balancing the equation, making sure that as you have fun, you're conscious about your personal goals, you're conscious about what you do to other people, because we have seen killings, and unfortunately, we are killing each other. We are most of the people who are in these very funny situations, they are youths. So being conscious about yourself, intentional living, even as we YOLO, even as we have fun. So in Atuhusu, let us be involved. Let us not, as we mind our own business, let us mind the business that brings change in our society, and let us purpose to support people who are doing good things in the society. Let us support Vijana African Voices. We welcome you to our dinner. It will be lit. We're going to have fun, even as we engage in intriguing conversations, even as we have a very nice time together. So we invite them.
All right.
On my YouTube channel, I am, as I said, I'm a HIV prevention ambassador, an advocate, because we talk about HIV prevention. Unfortunately, again, it goes back to the youths. Statistics zinasema most of the
people
new
infections,
infections, they are youths. So we want to ask ourselves, why are we, with this knowledge, with the technology, why are we still the ones who are getting the new infections? So I focus on HIV prevention. Previously, I have also done music. I am a gospel artist. But now we also use the same platform to preach peace and HIV awareness messages and much more.
Right.
So I'm Sujoy Blessed.
All right. Okay, so do check it out and subscribe and stay tuned, for more from her. Parting shot from you, and also how people who want to join you at VAVI can do that.
All right. For anyone who wants to join Vijana African Voices, we have different platform you can showcase your skills. Number one, we have the part of digital literacy, all part of it, where you can showcase your talent on digital literacy. You have photography, we have facilitation, you have trainings. So any platform that you feel your skills can be used, you can send us your CV on our email, vijanaafricanvoicesinitiative@gmail.com, and we'll be sure to respond to you. So the parting shot, I would say, in terms of youths, we'd say check on your mental health. If your mental health is okay, then you're good to go, and it's okay not to be okay. At the end of the day, we want to break the barriers of receiving or being able to speak out in whatever you're going through, because at the end of the day, emotions never know any gender. So whatever you might be suffering from, either you're a man or a woman or a boy or a child, it will affect you in a long scale, because if your mind is not stable, you won't be able to do a lot of things.
Okay, the mind is your business, and also your business is in the mind. So do take very, very good care of that. And also maybe to reiterate the statement she said there earlier, in Atuhusu. So as you go on with the business, minding your business, but also remember there's business outside of your business that you should be minding as well. We mean business when we are in business. This is Biashara Tuesday. I've had a great conversation with Vijana African Voices Initiative. You can check them on all the social platforms, and it's at
Vijana African Voices across all platforms.
All right.
Yes.
Biashara Tuesday takes a break. I'll be back to read your feedback and also to look at what is hitting the headlines this morning I have the Standard and the Daily Nation. If you have any other, please send me the headlines, and then we'll get to discuss that after I'm back.
What's up, Vijana African Voices would kindly invite you to our annual gala dinner. It's happening on the 29th April of this April 2023. Our main focus will be the launching of 2 projects that will be tackling problems affecting youth in Kiambu County. So feel welcome. The dress code is Africanism, where we'll be dressing to promote African culture, as our logo says, African, Vijana African Voices. And feel welcome as we say hashtag Vijana African Voices, hashtag Friends of Varvit.
The quickest way to raise autism awareness and end stigma is to show the world the amazing gifts, achievements, and talents of those on the spectrum and what they can do to add value to society when given the support they need in form of services, education, and acceptance. Mr. and Miss Autism Kenya 2023 aims at raising awareness of autism by providing a platform for those on the spectrum to showcase their talents and amuse the world. This year's events will take place at Sportsview Hotel Kasarani on Saturday the 15th of April 2023, and the entry is free. You can support us by becoming a partner. Call us on 0702 623359. Mr. and Miss Autism Kenya is proudly brought to you by Step Up for Autism and KUTV, powered by Radiators Foundation.
Tuesday tunakula usiku. Tuachane na break kwanza, tuende lunch. Chapo. Ndio hiyo. Kama mokimo.
Rasha piga shada kuna giza. Ziki nice tujinise weke story. Kata maji pia shada liko nasio nikosa msupo si stress. Kama rende kisha basi nipe. Najua ni nini.
Big up, Zade, ukiwa Adriva, big up, Sis, big up, Shows, Mama, big ups, Oya, wase wote, okay, my principal, big up.
It's the kind of life I ever wanted. Money, power, moves, and it does. And I also went to like a seminary school too, like where I'm supposed to be like a reverend father. I've always been around music all my life. Yeah, I mean, it's up to every artist to know what motivates them. I saw you with the content, tell me nonsense. Say we no getting memo, take the content. Check my watch, you go see na God's timing.
possessing your property, intellectual or material.
This and more, only on Law Matters.
Kipindi hewani ni mitindo ya kipwani. Kama ilivyo kipindi hiki kinahusu nyimbo za tarab, chakacha, midwara, midundiko, bila kusahau mapishi. Ambao ndio uti wa mgongo wa pwani ya Afrika Mashariki.
Jamani swahibu zangu mliopo maskani, hatuonani wenzangu, najua mwanitamani.
Hapa KUTV, nahodha mwendesha chombo cha baharini, yani ua linalunukia na kuvutia waridi tamu.
Biashara Tuesday is back on air, and I'm glad to have had an amazing show so far, and it's courtesy of you guys. So if you're on social media and you're watching us, give us a shout out. I'll read your name here, and I'll be so happy to know where you are tuning in from, or if there's someone else you want to watch this last lap of the show with, please do tell us that also. I'm seeing a couple of guys commenting the conversation we had with Dr. Austin there. I see Dr. Chiro Emmanuel. Daktari ametuletea madaktari leo on the comment section. Some great work. Nyangem Jaber also watching the show. Dr. Dylan as well there. Moonlight Lover, Onwards and Upwards, and also watching the show. Just Lean tuned in as well. I'd love to know where you guys are tuning in from this morning. Mohammed Aidan commending the good conversations happening today on the show. Good job, Doc. That's Agri. Martin Muinde on Twitter. I'll continue to read that feedback. Remember, we are streaming live on Facebook and also on YouTube, KUTV Kenya Live. Now, we have a look at the headlines. I have with me Jesse Kimotho. He is a designer, he's an artist, he's a programmer, political scientist as well, you know, a jack of all trades, but today he's in his capacity here as an analyst to take a look at the newspapers this morning. The headlines from the Standard, the Daily Nation, and also the Business Daily. Jesse, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Richard.
Yeah.
It's good to be here.
Right. Welcome back. I think you're a regular now.
Yeah.
No need for much introduction to you. Which newspaper is the most exciting for you this morning and why?
Yeah, so we have the Daily Nation. They have, the title is The Pay Strike Looms in Public Service. They also have a good amount of pullouts. They have two pullouts. They have the Smart Business pullout and the Healthy Nation pullout. So, you know, if you're a fan of what Dr. Austin was talking about, you know, it's worth taking your time to look at the Daily Nation today. The Smart Business section also focuses on various youth who are doing a lot of self-employed empowerment. I think they have a culinary a chef who is paid around 3,500 by tourists to be taught how to cook a Kenyan meal.
Okay.
Yeah, to make a Kenyan breakfast.
All right. So, okay. What's a Kenyan breakfast though? I'd love to see it. Any ngwashe na uji hapo. We'll get to see it there at the Smart Business. So the Daily Nation wins?
Yes, so they're off to a very good start. The Standard have chosen to focus on a bunch of popular issues. I think more social issues that are going on in the economy. They also have a pullout, specifically talking about the telecom deal. And then, of course, there's a Business Daily that's chosen to focus more on the Kenya's external debt crisis.
And Mama Ngina's salary. You've really avoided that.
Yeah.
I know because you have a piece of art. And if this is going to go well. But let's start with worst to best, yeah?
Yeah, let's start with the Standard.
The Standard, the worst headline of the day.
Yeah.
Ruto's big test to fix economy lying in ruins. President returns to a full in-tray, indicating an economic crisis after admission that there is no money to run government and pay salaries. With the economy in a mess and a broke civil service, his work is cut out. On page 6 is where the Standard has chosen to continue with this talk or this conversation, and they are labeling it the litmus test for Ruto as he is facing this political and economic crisis. On one hand, he is trying to battle Azimio la Umoja coalition, who want bipartisan talks and also to have a look at various issues they've selected as the key priority in these bipartisan talks. But also, on the other end, there is the worsening situation of the economy. As you've rightfully pointed there, the Business Daily saying that the ballooning debt is now at 344 billion, and this is because of the weakening shilling. Which one should he focus on, Jesse? I don't know. He has two things on his plate. The political side, akona Raila Amolo Odinga, who's also very incessant on what he wants addressed, and on the other end, kuna wananchi, they're also hungry and want some change. Which one should he prioritize, and what do you think he's going to prioritize?
Sure. So what he will prioritize, I think, number one is making sure people are paid. I think it's important to treat these issues as separate issues. Even though we have one government and one president, so different branches of the government are responsible for different things. So in this case, specifically, pertaining to, right now being a crucible moment for Ruto, there's a lot of things that are happening to him. Number one, we are seeing his deputy maintain kind of a blame game stance, saying that the previous government was the one that finished all the money, and yet we are more than almost 100 days in towards a new government. However, it is worth noting that the government's revenue can generate revenue quite fast. So we are talking about just a span of even 2 weeks. A week is needed to fill in this gap,
right,
especially in the pay. So we are hoping that he will kind of kickstart the necessary engines, talk to the salaries and renominations committee. We've seen him try various incentives to get the value of the shilling come back up. So buying oil, negotiating deals, that are not in dollars. However, it's still tough because we are experiencing what is the highest the dollar has been here, almost trading at 133 shillings against the Kenyan, for a dollar. So it's a tough time. We have to wait it out, especially as we see the evolution of the talks that is having with Azimio.
Right. The admission by the top economic advisor, who is David Ndii, to the president, that we are facing a cash crunch at the moment, yeah? And some of the solutions that the side of Azimio is presenting to President Ruto is that we get some reliefs in terms of subsidies, just like they were during the times of President Uhuru Kenyatta. And President Ruto has also said that these are going to be temporary reliefs. Is there any point, or is there any way that you can have a permanent solution? As you said there, it will be 2 weeks. We can turn around the situation in a few days. The government can patch up some holes here and there with subsidies. We saw that plan to import oil in shillings, which still hasn't taken effect yet. But are there permanent solutions, Jesse, that you can have a look at, maybe from your end?
Yeah, so I think the best place to look is within the newspapers that we already have.
Okay.
So it'll be very good to look at Business Daily, page 4 and 5, where we are seeing the government kind of taking steps to, kind of improve the areas where it can, kind of low-hanging fruit. So, for example, we have, the Trade Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria lifting the ban on raw macadamia exports, which will see farmers, especially around this particular product, kind of have a wider market and perhaps even negotiate better prices. We are seeing cheaper LPG as 13 farms seek nod from the EPRA. So
that's a relief on households and their cooking expenditure.
Yeah, exactly. And it's worth noting that even as page 4 states on the Business Daily, that even though the external debt has kind of risen, and again, the key point to notice there is just because the shilling has weakened. Because as we can see here from the graph that they've shown us, in December 2022 is when we actually had the highest debt, but then it was in dollars, so that was around $38 billion. So now, because the Kenya shilling is weakening, we are seeing that. But again, things might change, especially within the forex when where these prices are very volatile. We might see an uptick.
Right. In that regard, of course. All right, so that's some positivity there, and that's a Standards headline. You can read it on page 6. Ruto's big test to fix economy lying in ruins. They've also chosen to put their half page, I believe, story on Akode, the famous popular musician Esther Akode's wedding. It's Akode, or is it Akode? Akoth Kukeo. They put her actual name, popularly known as Akode. This is her 7th, I believe. So it's Mr. Omosh the 7th. And I guess this is why you're saying this newspaper fails, because we have more important issues than this, or...
as a political scientist, you want to steer clear of I would call it the micro
issues.
But however, if you like having an ear on the ground, if you're into the grapevine, the Standard does really, really well. If there's also a story on page 4 on the King's family, and in terms of the succession politics and what is going on. So if you really like
into family business,
this kind of granular stories. Again, on page 8, there's a story again of this unique kind of family-based kind of story. So if you like peeking into the lives of your fellow Kenyans, the Standard might actually be the best the best newspaper for you.
Okay. All right, so you can check out the Standard. There's a story there on border borders who are calling a national demo after their boss was killed by the name of Willis Mugambi is the one leading the protest in Chuka town, and it is said that the police shot and killed him. So riders want the officers apprehended or go to the street. So if you're into nitpicking, as Jessica said, and you want to get some juicy stories from around the country, the Standard has done you justice there. We switch back to the Daily Nation, and the highlight story there: pay strike looms in public service. We talked about this as we began the show, and also it was there in the news updates. Thousands of government employees have threatened a work boycott to push the national treasury to release their salaries, which have been delayed, by the way, up to 3 months. And this is even as President Ruto's administration says it's facing that cash crunch. And those are statements we've heard also from the top economic advisor, David Ndii. Page 6 and 7 shows that story on what the government is facing in terms of those civil servants who've not been paid yet. Thousands of them who even went to Easter awaiting that pay. They're supposed to get, the allocation is 50 billion, right? 50 billion for civil servants and an extra, I think, 8 billion for pensions. The external debt that we are servicing is 150 billion every single month. Is it possible that we reduce the amount we are remitting to external debtors, and then, kama ni 150, I'm doing a layman mathematics as a Kenyan, take 50 and give the salary, and then tell the creditor, takutumia 50 next month.
So it's a very these are pertinent questions being asked, and of course the answers aren't quite there. What is currently being claimed right now from Treasury is that the available funds were diverted, and they were specifically diverted to service maturing public debt. So there were certain loans that had to be paid,
must be paid,
and that is if you think about it, it's a good excuse. However, it still leaves a big blank for them to answer. Treasury, though, have done a very good job again in the recent past, kind of navigating these waters. In the past, when they had the teacher strikes, they had the public servant strikes, and this time round it's COTU members. We've seen the nation specifically mentioning certain members of, for example, the Kenya Medical the Practitioners and Dentists Union. So as long as they can target these aggrieved institutes and seek to maybe settle these matters on a case-by-case basis, they can avoid a more severe public outcry than they are facing now. So if the government does act quickly and the Treasury acts quickly, and we've seen that in the past, that they've been able to do that with limited success, then perhaps they can stem this issue as it grows.
All right. Still on the Daily Nation, you're telling me that says a story that relates right there in the pull-out section on some of the conversations that we are having today in matters of healthcare, and a story on when and exactly how you should brush your teeth I don't know if Dr. Austin Omondi is still watching. Anatuambia wanasema you should brush your teeth just before breakfast or after. What did you say? Was it before?
They are saying that you should brush it, contrary to popular opinion, you should brush it before you eat breakfast. And the reason they're giving is when you brush after, you are further, pushing the acid. For example, if you're drinking orange juice, you're pushing the acid deeper into your teeth. So they say you brush before, and then that should carry you through breakfast
and after,
perhaps maybe until lunch.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Since some of that information that you can get on health and also on those platforms that Doc ametoka kutuambia sahizi, much more on the healthy nation as well, on HIV and cancer, something that we spoke there with the guys from Vavi, particularly Susan, who is very key in trying to highlight issues of healthcare in regards to HIV prevention. Any other relevant story from the Daily Nation?
Yeah, so they're also running several sponsored sections that I think are important to look at. So they're running a sponsored section specifically on COVID prevention and the symptoms there. So if you're looking for good infotainment, again, cervical cancer as well. They're also running an excerpt, I think, that actually has that is a report by the Prime Cabinet Secretary's office. That is Musalia Mudavadi. Also, they have a newsletter from President Ruto as well. So if you, again, if that really does interest you, again, would be worth taking a look at the Daily Nation for that section.
All right, for matters of government services and what they are currently doing. Today, history is in the making. Kenya's Taifa 1 satellite is going live. Are you excited about it?
Very, very excited about it. So you can follow it actually from Kenya Space Agency's website. They'll be doing a live stream. You can also follow it from the SpaceX Mission Control Center's website. And it's actually going live right now, even almost as we speak. The rocket launched at 9 a.m. And at around 10:52 a.m., they'll be detaching and kind of allowing the satellite to go into orbit. And the nation are doing a really good job at listing the timelines that are very important to note, especially around the satellite. So, for example, on July 2023, that's when the official handing over to the Kasarani ground station. So it'll actually the kind of we will be monitoring the satellite from Kenya, from Kasarani. Yeah, so Kasarani might be now the space capital of Kenya, right, as we know it. So
turning around its tainted image in the past few days or few weeks, incidences from Kasarani now finally getting to participate in this Taifa 1 project. What are some of the realized benefits maybe you've seen Kenya will get from this?
So I think we will see definitely more investment into the Kenya's, the Kenyan space scene. So this satellite was developed in combination with a Bulgarian company called Endurosat. So we might see maybe even more jobs as the Kasarani ground station seeks to expand. More companies investing. We'll also see an increase because we are getting more information from this satellite. They say that after a 3-month commissioning stage, this is when they'll be going receiving this data that is being transmitted. The satellite first, of course, they say it has to find tumble into orbit until it
finds its place. Yeah,
but once it's
sort of like me and life.
Yeah.
Just stumble in space until you settle.
But get this satellite will will orbit the Earth 15 times every day. 15 times it will go around the Earth 15 times every day for the next 5 years. So we are expecting for the next 5 years to be getting good quality data, to be getting a more increased interest in the space.
Right, and this is going to affect so many industries, agriculture, how we take a look at weather patterns and seasons, and that's relevant information, especially for Kenya. 9 engineers developed Kenya's first Earth observation satellite, that is the Taifa 1, and it's a 50 million shilling satellite, which is set to be launched is launching in California. So you can see what 50 million, Bob, can do to you. So when you see how much money is getting lost within government ranks, can you imagine how many satellites we could be launching to space, isn't it?
Yeah.
Maybe in the future we get to have the first Kenyan in space, or on the moon.
Sure.
Eventually. This is a good way to pave way for this. A wrap up on the newspaper section, Jesse, as we get to finish with a quote at the back of the Business Daily as well.
Yeah, so again, very, very, very exciting stuff here in the newspapers today. And again, if you paid keen attention to our guests, I would suggest go check out the Daily Nation. You will not be disappointed, as well as the Business Daily and the Standard. For those various appetites. I think we can look at the
quote.
The quote.
It's yours, man.
All right. So this is Ernest Hemingway. This is an American novelist, a short story writer, and a journalist. He says that there is nothing noble in being superior to your fellow man. True nobility is being superior to your former self.
Yeah. Moment of silence for that very powerful statement. Going to take a break. Come back here to read your feedback real quick, and then we wrap up Biashara Tuesday. But don't go far, because I have to read what you've said and then maybe shout out a couple of other people. So Biashara Tuesday is coming back in a few seconds. Biashara Tuesday, hashtag Biashara Tuesday has been on air from the morning, and a couple of guys, Dr. Ogera, also excited for the conversations that we've had here. Dr. Duke, nilikuwa nangoja nipewa shout out pia, lakini anyway, it was an amazing time indeed. Shout out to you, Dr. Duke, MD, Kebari Duke on Twitter, with a very nice image there. That's the shout out. Bravo Kaka, keep winning. Asante sana for tuning in, Dr. Ogera. Paps F Olela also watching the show. Couple of guys there as well. Nigel, Nasema tuning in for the first time. I didn't know this is a hot show. Now you know. Tune in next week on Tuesday as well. Much more does happen here on Biashara Tuesday. We've had wholesome conversations, and you guys have been able to interact with us, send us your questions, and where we've been streaming also on Facebook. I see Desmond Smith saying he loves the conversations, not only about making the conversation one-sided, but inclusive. Our voices are our biggest power. Oppress a voice, you lose the individual. Give space to a voice, empower them. Good initiative, and I'd love to see it evolve into other areas of focus and parts of the country, and one step at a time. So it's talking there about Vavi, that is the initiative that we spoke about a few minutes ago, that is trying to empower the youth and also promote gender equality. Desmond Smith, former campus director, Heart Price Chapter, Kenyatta University. There's a tweet here by CS Moses Kuria, following up that opportunity that has been mentioned there in the Business Daily, in the newspaper review we've had. 40 macadamia processors are buying macadamia at 20 shillings per kilo and selling at Kenyan shillings 800 in international market. Buying it at 20 shillings and buying it and selling it on the international market at 800 bob. We don't want 800. We will be okay with 250 kilo for our toiling farmers. So this is a good opportunity to kill those middlemen who have previously been taking advantage of the farmers who might not be receiving their full compensation. We've seen very many ways of trying to deal with this, and this is one of those commendable ways that we can point out. So if you want to invest in agriculture, in macadamia, take a look at that. A reminder, Taifa 1 is currently launching the first operational Earth observation satellite from Kenya, launching over at California, but you can follow it through the Kenya Space Agency website, but it's also happening live at the University of Nairobi grounds. So be following through with that, and then you can tell us your reactions later. This has been an amazing show. I've had fun. How about you? Let me know that on all my handles, and I will be interacting with you throughout the week. Continue to follow the rest of KUTV's broadcasting, the news updates at KUTV Primetime News and Mizizi ya Habari, and then the rest of the shows as well. Next week, Tuesday, we'll be right here. Karen Blessing starts off the week with some art and culture, and then I'm here with you on Matters of Business on Biashara Tuesday. From the whole team here, my director and producer, Ryan Ngure, on the transmission desk is Frank Major Minor, and the rest of the whole team behind the cameras and the sound and the video mixing. We say thank you for tuning in to the show. Please do catch us another time. If you want to have breakfast in bed, sleep in the kitchen.
What a peck, what a hang up on the peck. What a peck, what a peck, what a hang up on the peck. One can go on your leg of it must go $1. Mambo twist. Pesa tangoya. What legi? Jotan Paris, Oak London, Kanyo, Beakalo, Berlin, Kanyo. Pa angi friends